Satu Dave. Welcome back to the regular sitting and bullshitting kind of Sunday. Hope y'all doing good. Hope the collection video something y'all enjoyed. Seen most people did. So if you did watch it, which I appreciate if you did, you'll notice that I got some Chinese knives. So nobody really called me out on it. I mean, a few people said they were surprised, but nobody really called me out on it. So I'm gonna explain to y'all why I got the things I got and kind of sort of my thought process behind it. At least for now. I don't know if they're staying or not, but we'll see. Okay. All right. So you can see there's the four. Basically, I guess you could call this one somewhat questionable, but for me, it's not really questionable. It's pretty much, I know it's Chinese, but anyhow, the four Chinese I got right here. So we're going to take this one off the table real quick, like, because I just kind of discussed this in my video last week. This is gifted me by Mitch Bowling. And I tried a Medford version. I'm not into the whole old style, case style slip joints, but I tried this one, the Ohio River Jack, I believe this is what this one called. And the full titanium, the weight of it, the size of it, for as far as slip joints go, this is the favorite one that I've had so far. And for you guys that are into slip joints, sorry, I had the GEC, I don't know what that big one is called, the thumb, I don't know, the toenail or whatever it's called. I had one of those a while back. I gave it to, who did I give it to? Pocket Metal. I gave it to Pocket Metal a while back. So I've had some of the other ones that are like this, but this titanium kind of soothes me. But anyway, as far as like it compared to the Medford, really quick, like this one was just it did more for me than the Medford did one for me. So this is why I kept this one. Monetarily, this is probably a third of the value of what the Medford one was, but this one I like better. So I can't fault it, and I'm not really a slip joint guy, so I'm going to keep this in case I do want to carry a slip joint. This is definitely a lot more my style. I'm definitely into the bruisers, right? So while we're talking about bruisers, just overall in general, who out there is producing bruisers anymore? I mean, we take customs off the table, like so. Take the DSKs, the Crusader Forges, production companies. What production companies are making bruisers anymore? I mean, you could kind of go SMF still a little bit, kind of still go XM24. Those are borderline bruiser for me. Like honestly, they're kind of borderline bruisers. They're not quite the size and weight feel that I like, generally speaking, in my main duty carry. Now, I will definitely carry these as secondary, 100% without a doubt. But I also go down in as far as like VECP and Sabenza range too. Like those are definitely good backups for me, but I don't run those as primaries. Almost never. Even right now, I'm wearing shorts, and before I had the shorts on, I had this proponent in my pocket. I just don't care. Like a lot of people don't want to put a big heavy knife in their pocket, and I don't really either. So I put it inside the waistband, just like I would my gun. I just carry my gun on the other side. So yeah, I carry a gun and a big heavy knife in shorts. So it happens all the time. Yeah, I use my drawstring, but that's how I do it in the summertime, and it's literally hot enough to wear shorts around here most of the year. Bruisers are a definite thing. So the actual like amount of people producing bruisers is like slim. You know, even like Zermanos, that those are in the price range of some of these, but those are customs, man. Those aren't even production, so it's not like everybody can go get one of those. Not necessarily this one, but these two are readily available. You can just go buy them. Like it's just something that's sitting on the shelf. So I guess for me, the lack of people producing them made me kind of look at these a little bit more. So I hope that kind of explains a little bit of that. Secondary to that is like you start getting into like, well, the action stuff. If you're really like an action style type of a knife guy, more or less, I doubt that the SMF, the VECP, and the Sabenzer are your flavor if you're a super action kind of guy. Although I do appreciate the action, and I like the action for a different level, but there's certain guys that really get into just action. That's probably not the knife for those people, right? I mean, maybe the Hinders. This is an older one on phosphor bronze, but I mean, it still has good action from what I think all those do to me. But like compared to like what modern people like in knives with bearings and stuff, these aren't really like what they look for. And when you come up to the bruiser category, it's kind of the same way. You got some knives like all DSKs that I've ever handled, all run on bearings, and like I think all Rogovitz does. There's plenty of people building just bearing knives, but they don't have the level of what these guys have as far as smoothness. I don't know about this one for sure, but this one for sure has multi-row bearings. And it's on a different level as far as the swinging of the blade action style thing. Not gonna like review the overall knife, just kind of briefly. This is a sub $200 knife, so for less than $200, You can get a big old chunky bastard, full titanium, no relief inside, you know, just nice, heavy, big, solid frame lock. It's not necessarily the most attractive looks, but you get 3-finger or 3-way deployment, the thumb stud for flicking, or thumb stud for thumbing, and also the flipper on this one. But you can also get the fuller on this one. So you technically, I think you'd have 4 ways to really open this knife. So you know, you take that out. How many like bruisers have just that on them? Like I know my Crusader Forge is that way, and one of my Skypes can kind of be that way. But like this, it fine tunes. Like there's you gain a lot from this, and for the price of $200, I don't think there's any bruiser that I've ever known for $200. So this is, you know, I used to call the tier the entry level bruiser, and they're like 400, like the regular size tier. That's like a $400 knife. This one has a regrind, so it's more than that now. But and also some mods that I did. But like, you know, for buying a $425, so you know, this is not a huge knife, but it's a decent sized knife. This is on a different level. Like it's way beefier blade stock. You know, like it's just a beefy knife, and you know, from what I like, this is definitely soothing more than that tier for like a bruiser style. Like I don't never carry that smaller tier as a main pocket, but I will this Proponent, and I will this Max Ace Sandstorm 2. And as I mentioned in that video, I did blast the blue off these things right away. This one's an integral, like, or integral, or whatever you want to call it. I'm very impressed with this knife, and it's, you know, as smooth as you could get. But here's the other thing. So as I've gotten into the grinding the blades, and y'all see me kind of getting into that doing myself stuff, like we'll just look at this one for a second. This is that Apocalypse. Look at the precision of those grinds on that. Like that's not something you do by hand. I mean, some people can. When you're a master, maybe you can get that level. I'm not anywhere near that. But if someone did that by hand, they're so precise it's not even funny. And then when I say that, like, you know, like even BGM, who's super precise with his regrinds, like this one is way heads and shoulders above what I'm going to be capable of anytime soon. Super precise. But you can, if you look at it close enough, you can see things from one side to the other side are slightly different. And I'm talking very small, but slightly different. On this one, you're not going to find those. I mean, it is exactly the same from one side to the other side. It's set up and done on a machine and done extremely precision. And, you know, that level of precision, unfortunately, it's just not, you don't see it in bruisers, especially. You just don't see it in modern bruisers. Like there's nobody producing a knife like that. Medford hand grinds his, so he's still doing it by hand. So even as a production company, you get hand ground knife, which is only as good as the individual doing it, right? So the grind on this one is just ridiculous, man. I mean, look at that. That's absolutely insane. So y'all know I'm a sucker for a recurve. I love the recurves, like the Satu blade. I love that style recurve. I absolutely love recurves. And you don't find a whole lot of those, especially in bruisers. You don't find a whole lot of these recurves to be as nasty as this one is, because it's super thin back here and super thick up there. So it's basically I can't ask for really a better mixture of what you get on a knife as far as the blade shape goes. Like it's pretty dang nasty blade, and you got this little thing here you can actually flick off of too if you wanted to. But this is $400, and like we're not even, so those two combined is what this one cost. And this one was overpriced, like hands down. Like if this was marketed as a Chinese knife, if everybody knew that we're buying this knife, that it was a Chinese knife, I guarantee they wouldn't have sold the ones they did. Or if they did, it would have been way less. It's just like the Hoback situation. Like, and this is kind of sort of through Hoback, but you know, like the same thing. Like his selling of knives was assumed that it was American made, and if you paid that premium thinking you're getting an American made knife and you got a Chinese knife, this overpriced Chinese knife. It just is. Like those two run circles around this one, even though this one's a sick knife. To have these two over that one, yeah, I'll take these two over that one any day of the week. Now, I'm not dogging this one. This one's the price of this one because it's only made 10. But if they made 10,000 of them, the price would probably be $300-400, like at the most, like compared to like what you see here, if it was in line. So I hope that kind of sort of briefly explains me kind of jumping on the bandwagon and seeing the Chinese knives. Now, if we're looking like future goals and that sort of thing, like I'm learning how to grind right now, right? I know how to machine. I got to design something myself. But if I'm looking at what I want to do as far as like down the line, if I start making knives, I want to look at the best precision I can and compare myself to that. When I make, you know, even scales or something like that, when I make a scale, I'm comparing myself to the best. I want to be compared to the best, not just the guy who does it. I'm not picking on Zermano, but the guy who does it with water jet and kind of finishes it by hand. Like that's more of a common practice for the custom maker. But You know, if I'm doing both, I want to be able to compare myself. So I have to have something here that I, first of all, like the size of, feel of, but also the fit and finish and the way they've done everything here. I need these to compare myself to. So for me, that was kind of a you know, basic understanding or basic explanation, I guess I should say, of why these are now here. Will they stay? Will they go? I don't know. Time will tell. I'm not in any rush to get rid of them, that's for sure. Matter of fact, I might throw some mods at some of them. I don't know. We'll see. But that aside, I did some regrinding. And so, you know, last week with the collection video, I didn't really do the sitting and bullshitting because that's just too much stuff. I really wanted to do an extra video. I just didn't have time. Like everybody else got Labor Day weekend off. I got the Tuesday after Labor Day. I finally got that day off. We worked all the way through Labor Day weekend, and probably, honestly, through the day, we're probably I've worked pretty much every day this week too, except for Tuesday. So we're probably working later today. Not sure yet. But so time's limited. Is what I was trying to get at. Always get long-winded with explanations, and I apologize. But I did some grinding, and the two knives I did for Will, I'm gonna patch some videos in right here. Hope you guys can hear me over the fans and stuff. I'm just grinding this Damascus knife. I had it all laid out. This is Will's Damascus knife, laid it out. You see this? I think it's when the Damascus is welded together. You see it? There you go, back in there. You kind of see that seam, how it follows through. It looks like it's coming apart right there. So I don't know if that's a bad weld in the Damascus. Same thing on this other side. You got some right here. You see where the Damascus, you see the ripples of the Damascus. See how it's coming through on there and there. But anyway, you can see the grinds. I got the hollow grind here. I basically just did the slack belt, top swedge, and just chased what was already there and kind of just brought it to the tip. But I just wanted to show that in case there is an issue on down the line. We're going to try to identify if it was the Damascus weld or something I did. But quick shot of the progress of that. All right, it's a little update with the regrinds. Both these are Will's. We'll start with this Damascus one. I did a little snippet earlier. I guess that was last week now. Probably about a week ago, I guess. And when I was grinding it, I had some issues there. So the layout didn't work out the way I wanted it. Basically, here's the knife now. I went full flat on this one with a swedge on top. It's a little oiled up. I had to re-etch all the Damascus all the way back to basically that where the bone starts there. Pretty happy with how this one came out. It sharpened better than the one from CJ did, but it still didn't sharpen really good. Like, I don't know, something about, I think this Damascus, you can even look on the edge if it gets close enough. You can see where the Damascus welds kind of poking through that weld. I mean, in that secondary bevel. See how they're like big, thick, layered kind of things. Hope you can see that, like right in here. You can kind of see a little bit. Hopefully it shows up. But anyway, I think the welds in this Damascus aren't the best. So I don't know, like, there was several issues with this knife. So when I laid it out before and showed that first progress video, I didn't realize it until after I was getting going. But basically the knife had a little bit of a twist to it, like it was warped a little bit. And also the grind was a little off center. So I tried to center all that stuff the best I could. You can kind of sort of see where I work. Still, like, the plunge lines ain't great, but you can still see it's out of center a little bit. So I tried to fix the problem the best I could with going full flat. But the re-etching to the end of the Damascus ended up looking pretty cool to me, working pretty good. I think it's a better knife now than what it was when it got here. So hopefully Will enjoys it. I'm pretty happy with the overall outcome of that one. And everything still fits in the sheath and still works like normal. So, like, you don't think you'll have to do anything as far as sheath goes. So it shakes just a little bit, but, you know, it's kind of the sheath it is anyhow. But I think this one turned out pretty good. And then this one was that funky little tri-way tanto thing. I knew I was going to do something different with it. I had originally intended on doing like the hollow grind with a flat tip. I think I was a little more ambitious than I really could be. So I went ahead and just did a drop point with a swedge on this one too. But when I talked to Will and showed that last one, the video I did with Mateo's knife, I did this brush finish on Mateo's, and Will said he'd like that. I was thinking about doing stonewash and doing some other things, but what I ended up doing is bead blasting the whole thing. So like all the backbone, all the numbers and all that stuff's gone. So it's just aluminum oxide blasted. So it's got that nice little kind of dull gray look, and then smoothing over the finger troll just a little bit so it's not so crisp like it was before. And just put a nice little drop point on it, a little swedge on top. So hopefully you like the way that looks, Will. It is scratch prone on some of the flats now. Just putting it in and out of the Kydex has put a couple scratches in it, but it just depends on what you're looking. This is a D2 knife, so it will rust now, so you have to be careful and use oils and stuff on it when you're done with it. But as long as you take care of it, it should be fine. But this one sharpened up real nice, so I know the heat treat's still good on this one. But anyway, just a couple of progress pitches. I do see issues like this one has a little blem right here, and then on this side it's ground up higher on this back end, and then kind of goes back to where even, and this one's not as high on the back end. So, you know, and the points look slightly different on from the swedge. Like, if there's differences, man, but like all in all, like from where my level is right now, this is a step above what I've been doing, so I'm happy with the progress so far. And I still learn every time I do something like this. I still learn. But anyway, I'm really happy with that regrind, so I figured I'd just do a quick video, and I'll probably end up texting or showing Will pictures of this. But if he likes it all, I'll probably have them sent, and he'll be getting them like the next day, or already have them before you see this video, hopefully. All right, so I have one more to show you for the regrind stuff, and then we'll talk about the Satu here in a second. If you guys are here for if you don't know anything about the Satu or see me on Instagram, you'll see in a second here. With all what I'm gonna call successes, so what I did for Will's, like I made mistakes. There was things I learned from that, but in every single one I do, I get better at something. It's sometimes you mess one thing up and go, okay, I didn't do that last time, but I did this time, so now I got to pay attention to next time. And it's just building blocks, right? But I wasn't. If you saw that one I did for Will, that was the D2 one, I was really happy the way that one came out. But I wasn't gutsy enough to try like that. I had mentioned that I wanted to try that Medford style flat grind tip and then hollow grind main belly or whatever you want to call it. And this one I tried, okay, and it's already finished. I should have showed progress pictures. I didn't. One side came out pretty much exactly what I had envisioned, and the other side did not. So I'm gonna show you what I liked first, what I was trying to come up with, and then I'll show you the other side, how it washed out a little bit, and explain why, I guess. So this is the Tier XL, and this is the regrind I did on it. So this is a super thin hollow. Like, it comes down really good. So what I did to figure out how to do that hollow is I took one of my DSKs up here and kind of lined it up on that 8-inch wheel and kind of figured out what I want to do. And then I flat ground this tip. So this is all flat right here. And this other side, as I'm spinning around here, and I'll reprofile it a little bit, obviously. And this side over here, this kind of washed out. You can see how it doesn't really have the line. Like in a right light, you can kind of sort of see it. It's got the line there, but it just washed out. And I think the reason it did is I didn't have my line defined, like where I wanted to stop on this point over here, like a Tanto. If it was like, sorry, one second. If it was like this one where you had a defined point you're grinding down to, I probably could have held it a little more evenly. But I did it all by eye, which is stupid. I should have like laid it out and done it right. But I was in a rush. I wanted to do it. I was excited about it, and I prematured myself a little bit. So I'm glad I didn't do this on Will's, because I would have not been happy to send this back to him. So this side, kind of the lines washed out, but the effect is still the same. You know, you still got the flat grind here with a hollow grind here, and really a lot thinner on the tip now. So a nice stabby stab tip compared to the normal tiers. But this one here is regrind by, well, actually it's regrind BGM is pretty damn good too. But let's see if I can put something behind it so you can see that. That's the BGM. This is the smaller tier, but this is the one he regrind. Now, obviously, his skills are way better than me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't know how to do it with a hollow grind. I don't know how to make this line get broader and follow the curve that I want to follow and get it all the way up there. So I mean, it's just figuring out how to do stuff. Someone suggested that I go to a grind in or something. I can't remember who it was, and I appreciate the suggestion. I really do. I just don't have time. I barely have time to get in here and grind at all. So I'm hoping I get a little bit of time to do another regrind here in a minute, but we'll see. But anyway, so the first, I don't want to call this a fail, but not executed the way I wanted. But I was looking for this. This is what I was shooting for. So this side just was a little, you kind of sort of see that line right there, a little disappointing with this one. But at the same time, like this is one of those knives that I wouldn't have used as much when it was factory, when it was straight from Will. But now that it's regrind more, I will use it more. I kind of sure, because everything I've done from somebody else has been like, I don't know what their uses are, what they're using for. I want to use this a lot. Let's see if I made it too thin, if I made it chippy, if the heat treat was really affected, you know, that sort of thing. So I'm gonna, you know, this is just hand sharpen right now, but I'm gonna put this on probably my KME and do a little bit better edge. It's still good right now, but I want to make it even and then kind of go for a test bed kind of thing and see how this one does as far as testing and stuff goes. But yeah, nowhere near the skills of BGM, but I'm trying, right? So you got to start somewhere. Okay, now let's switch it up. Hang on. All right, so this is another Sawtooth, and if you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen a picture of this I posted yesterday morning. So let me explain a little bit first, and then we'll go into it. So Adam had bought this Sawtooth for me when it had the G10 scale on it. This OD green G10 scale. Sorry, it's got stuff on it. It's probably from my greasy ass hands. But anyway, he wanted the scale when I was selling scales, and also a titanium backspacer. So he got those from me basically a while back. He ran into some troubles financially, and he wasn't able to. He knew he wasn't able to keep it. So I talked to a lot of you guys like through Instagram DMs and that sort of thing. I was just one of those guys I check in on so often, didn't hear nothing from him. I checked in on him. He's like, I'm probably gonna have to sell it. I was like, well, all right, dude, let me get it back from you then. So let me at least make it right with you. So I paid him exactly what he had in it. So this one came back to me now, and this scale was kind of more sought after when I first put those scales for sale. Like the blues kind of sort of come and go with fingerprints. I don't know if you kind of sort of see it, but it's more of a bronzy in person. I had this scale on my DLC version for a while, and I like the combination of this with the DLC. It looked really good. So this is basically a buy to resell kind of thing. The last time I did one of these Sawtooths for sale, only like 4 people really interested in buying. So I'm gonna do it a little different this time. Maybe you're interested, maybe you won't. Maybe this will open up for you, maybe it won't. I don't know, but I'm gonna try to keep it interesting for me and for y'all. So this one's an S30. It's not the. I think I sharpened this one with the Lansky, but you can see the tips rounded just a little bit, so it could probably use a little reprofile for that tip. But it's decent. It's not bad sharp. It's decent sharp. I could do better than that now from when I did this. So Adam's had this probably, I'm gonna guess, a year, maybe a little more. But this is how I want to do it. I'm gonna do kind of like a build your own Sawtooth kind of thing. So y'all know, you've seen some of the finishes I've done, like that acid stonewash I did a minute ago on that Zermano. I don't know if I even mentioned that or not. I acid stonewash this blade, so let me flow it out so you can see it. So if you want a finish similar to that on your Sawtooth, I can do it. If you want it blasted and make it look just completely blasted, kind of sort of like, whatever my normal titanium. I don't have any examples in here. But like, yeah, actually, I think I did blast this frame too. No, did I? I don't know. I didn't do blast this one. Did I blast that one? I don't remember. Anyhow, I don't have no examples in here right away. Sorry. But anyway, build your own Sawtooth. That's what I'm trying to get at. So it's going to vary price-wise. But let's say you don't care about this scale. You just want a Sawtooth, and you cool the green OD scale with the tie liner and the regular G10 backspacer. Obviously, that's going to be the cheapest build, right? So I'm going to start that build at, say, $400. So if you want that knife with the G10 and the G10 backspacer as well, so no titanium scale, no backspacer, it's $400. But if you want a scale and a backspacer, it's going to go up. And if you want me to, like, say, make a new pin for this, which I have to get material for it in order to do it, it's going to take time, that sort of thing. Also, this tie backspacer does not match color-wise. You see the colors don't match. So if you wanted it color match, I'll try the best I can. No guarantees, but I'll try the best I can to color match and that sort of thing. So let's say the most extreme build you get, you want the pin, you want the colored backspacer to kind of match, and you want this scale, we'll go up to $600 for that one. Okay, so like anywhere in between then, if you want this scale, which is another one that I made, it just finished differently. If you want this scale instead of that scale, that's fine. I'll swap you out. No big deal. I am definitely keeping one of these scales. So don't ask me if I'll sell you a scale separately. If the person that buys it wants the G10, I'm keeping both of those. I'm not trying to be greedy. I don't have any of my own scales, so I'm gonna keep at least one. That's just the nature of the beast. And if neither one of these sell, it's not gonna break my heart to keep both of them, because I have another blade, Sawtooth blade, that I want to work on making the whole thing out of. But I just didn't have time yet. So anyway, we're going to do a lottery on this one again. And now I told you the monetary value of basically between 400 and 600, depending on where you want to be in that range. Okay. I'm going to also open it up to, let's say you want to say, I don't have the money, but I want the Sawtooth kind of thing, but you got another knife that you'd put in trade. Now, you know what kind of knives I'm into. I'm into the big, overbuilt, crazy, stupid shit. So let's say, I don't know, for whatever let's just use this for instance, because that's a knife that I kind of want to investigate and maybe possibly get. Let's say you get a District 9 Catastrophe. and you're like, you know what, man, I'll trade you that District 9 catastrophe for this. But I don't know what the actual value is on it. But if you want to come to some kind of terms, but trade wise, we'll do it the same way with that. So all I'm going to ask you is, if you want the trade, just let me know ahead of time. Like, I want in, but I'm in for a trade, and then we'll work out the trade. If the trade don't work out, we'll go to the next guy on the line. So you can still be in on the lottery, and the lotto is just to draw the name, the person that gets the first attempt to make a deal. Okay, not necessarily that they got the deal, just to make a deal. So like my brother Mateo hit me up and was basically like, here's 3 knives, I'll give you any one of these 3, maybe cash on top, I don't care, I want the Satu. Man, I appreciate your enthusiasm, Mateo, I really do, bro. And I hope you get it, man. But I'm down with that. So like, if you found a trade that you got some knives, you'd rather have this one versus yours, let's talk trades. I'm down with it. So that's basically how I like to shake my collection up anyhow. Instead of spending the money, let's just trade some stuff. So options are available. So if you want to buy it, or if you want to trade, or do a trade and cash, or either way, like, just let me know. Yeah. So, but it's a build your own Sawtooth. If you want different finishes on the blade and that sort of thing, it's going to take more time. So you got to deal with me on the time. But other than that, like, let me know what you want, and put your name in for lottery. Just tell me in on the lottery, I want it for trade or purchase, or hell, we figure it out. All right. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you all enjoyed it. I know it's probably a little long, but like, I didn't have no chance to bullshit with y'all last week, so I gotta get some stuff out of my chest, right? All right. Hope you like the idea about the Satu. I think that was kind of an interesting way of twisting it up. And we'll probably get into more trades and that sort of thing as it goes, because as I'm looking at my collection from last week, after I did the video, I went and reorganized the safe, and I put all the bruisers on one shelf, and on the not really bruisers, but other knives that I like on the second shelf. And there's far outweighs the bruisers with the second shelf, so we might need to rectify that a little bit. Plus, I probably got more than I really need, so we'll slim down the thing. But hope y'all have a good week. Catch you next week. Later, y'all.